teachers out here tonight? Got a few. I think anyone who has ever taught will agree that what we hear in that gospel tonight is a master teacher. If there's one activity that Jesus does more than anything else in the Gospels, it's teach. But boy, tonight's reading, there's the master. Now think about it. Remember when you were in school, and those of you who are still in school, and the teacher says, write a paper. And in that paper you start off and you say something like, well, some people say that. And what's the teacher write in the margin? Who? Who says this? Jesus keeps probing, and look how he suckers in the apostles. Huh? I mean, they're walking along. They're just shooting the breeze while they're walking. And he asks them for the latest gossip. Who do people say that I am? Oh, that's such a softball question. And they fall right for the bait. Oh, some say you're Elijah. Some say you're John the Baptist. And then he does that master teacher stroke. But you, who do you say that I am? And then there's that student. That student that jumps up and gets the answer right, whether he knows it or not. You're the Christ. Now, in the other Gospels, the writers kind of expand on it a little bit. Oh, blessed are you, Simon, son of John. I mean, it really sort of praises him. But no mere person has taught you this, but my Father in heaven. And that makes what happens next so interesting. Because the very first thing we hear Jesus say in Mark's Gospel is, don't tell anybody. Keep it a secret. And why is that? Because of what happens next. He says, I've got to live out what being Messiah means. And what being Messiah means, being the anointed of God, is not that I get to dodge what is to come. Because I am the Son of God doesn't mean I get to avoid the pain and suffering of life. It doesn't mean I can say, okay, I can rise above all this and go straight back to my Father. Because that's what people thought being the Messiah meant. And so Jesus tells his followers, don't tell anybody that I'm the Messiah because they won't understand it yet. And then it says he takes them aside and begins to teach them. And he says, I've got to go back. I have to suffer and die. I have to be the suffering servant that we heard about in the first reading. I'm with you in this life. I don't avoid it. I, as the Son of God, walk with you in your suffering and in your pain and in your trials. This is a God who lives it with us. The second reading from James is a tough reading. It reminds us that as Christians and as Catholics, we believe in things that are both and. We believe that if we have faith, the next question has to be, what do you do about it? It's one thing to say, I believe that Jesus is the Christ. The next question, though, is, so what? What will you do about that? Concretely, what will you do? You can't just stop with, you're the Christ. You're God. You're the Son of God. It's all on you, Jesus. No, what Jesus tells us is faith comes at a cost. And what James reminds us is our faith must lead to works, must lead to action. And that's the tough part of the message that Jesus is working with his first followers with tonight. And it's the tough message for us right now. It would be so nice to come into church and just simply say, we're here because we believe in God. The rest of the world can just go away. But what Jesus tells us is, yes, we have belief in God, and that's a wonderful thing. But now what are you going to do about it? What difference will that belief make in your life tonight as we leave here? So, my friends, listen to the teacher. Who do you, tonight, by name, who do you believe that Christ is. And then ask the second question. That being said, what am I going to do